Hello and welcome to the first episode of my C++ tutorial. This tutorial is going to be focused on getting you familiarized from C++, coming from a different language like Python, like one of the starter languages, like I said, Python, or maybe you're coming from like just doing shell scripts or something like that. I am doing this tutorial on Windows because I do not have a Linux box available to me right at the moment. But all this stuff is available on Linux, and it's much easier to do it that way. So if you are able to use Linux, I would highly recommend doing that. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started. So I guess the first thing we should go over is how is C++ different from, say, Python, and why would you want to use it? Generally, don't use C++ unless you need to do performance-oriented programming, so making games or something, which is what I usually use it for. It's also probably the hardest thing to code. Anyway, you probably know that Python is an interpreted language, which means that it's like in real time you take the say two people are having a conversation and they speak different languages. You have the computer on one end and the file, your Python file, on the other. And in between, you've got Python, which functions as the translator. And so, as the Python file speaks to the translator, and then the translator turns it into machine code on the fly, or well, not machine code, but like commands for the computer on the fly to interpret. So, C++, what it does is it's like, say you've got your C++ file, and you got your computer. Instead of having an interpreter or like a translator there in the middle translating your stuff for you, like if you're having two people talking to each other, you take all the C++ stuff, translate it into a file readable by the computer, and then the computer can run it at any time without the need for an interpreter. It's like, say, somebody reading you a book in a foreign language and translating it for you, as opposed to just translating the whole book and giving it to you. So you have to translate it up front, but after that, you don't need an interpreter for it, and it's considerably faster because you don't have to translate it on the fly. It's already been done for you. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you're going to need is some sort of thing to code C++ with. You could use like Notepad++ or something like that, but I find it is easiest to use a program like Codelite, which is an IDE. If you use Python, you might not be familiar with this, because in Python it's pretty easy to code without an IDE, but you can get them for Python. The one I'm using is Codelite, which you can find at codelite.org, codelite.org, or you can Google it. So you just want to download it. Throw some money their way if you want, or you can just, no thanks, take me to the download page. And just download one of these installers. And once you have it, you can just install it. I do the full installation. Leave everything at default, just for simplicity's sake. And we can go ahead and jump into actually doing stuff. But I think I'm just going to leave this tutorial as like setup and that's it, because that's all we need to do. And so I'll see you in the next episode.